Oh yeah. Oh wow.
Slower timer,
Yes.
not
Slower
timer.
timer.
Slower timer. And I mean, NP is a team to play Naga Siren. So if you're really good at playing Naga Siren, you normally also know what is really good against it because you know.
Sure.
But then you also know how to play against it. So I'm
Ooh.
thinking that NP will have a plan for this as well. And it is finally. We've been expecting to see Venomancer, not from NP particularly, more from Evil Geniuses, but NP showing their Venomancer in the first phase.
I would say Veno is like a very NA pick. Like even when I was playing the pubs around here last week, there were so many Veno games. Like there are many people using the hero, jungling, support, off lane. This hero is just everywhere.
Let's just have a quick look to see how often we have seen Veno. I mean, we saw how effective it was when it was picked. Admittedly, it was a high success rate, in fact, but was just 6 times so far in the Boston Major.
Yeah, MP did play it back in the group stage
You did
against
see it,
MVP,
right?
and they played it with MSS
It was
on the offlane role.
Oh, I remember it was against a Timber. When they picked the Veno, he did not skill the wards early because he was against a Timber. He basically maxed out his Gale and Sting, and he actually owned the Timber because it was all spell damage.
Of course, Fatal Bonds just makes people.
Oh
melt
yeah,
with
but Veno plus Warlock. Yeah, that's true. Bond and the Veno ultimate, that is a lot of damage.
I feel like Winter's proud of me.
Yeah, you're getting better, you know. Alex getting better.
Well, they couldn't get their hands on the Mirana, which you already said was the combination that NP really likes. So this is a good second. Lion, okay.
Lion is actually really good against Naga because of the main reason that he has 2 spells that removes the illusions, the Hex and the Mana Drain. That is actually a good option against the Naga.
I mean, it's good against the Naga, but in terms of being a good hero, it's very undervalued at the moment, really, isn't it? It's not seen as
decent.
a top tier,
Yeah, not a
hero at all.
not a top tier support, I agree. But he's very situational right now because he's very weak in the start of the game.
I just want to recap the ban because it looks like we're going to be seeing. Is that Morphling taken away?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Morphling
maybe.
taken out.
You don't want the Morphling making illusions of your Naga. You don't want to deal with your own illusions, basically. That's what they are saying.
And Timbersaw removed from the pool. Why would NP ban Timbersaw if you say that they already have a Veno that could potentially deal with it really well?
I think primarily the main reason why they removed the Timbersaw is because when you're up against this Naga kind of playstyle, he's going to split push you, and they're going to want to build their lineup around heroes that have a lot of deep push. They clear the creep waves, and you can't push, you can't do anything. You're going to be forced to always deal with your lanes, and Timber is one of those heroes as well. Like you can always use your Chakram to push out the lanes, and you're very annoying in the laning phase, so that hero would be a major distraction from you stopping the Naga from farming.
Alright. Well, Sand King removed. One more ban needed for NP.
Sand King removed, so that's another aggressive hero, and might suggest the Naga could be a safe laner here, because when you're doing Naga safe lane, you really do not want to go up against a Sand King lane.
Yeah, I mean, as you're mentioning, that really is the strength of DC picking it up at this stage. Could be Misery, could be Resolution.
Keep people guessing.
Keep them on their toes. Another
Final
offlaning
ban.
removed. We're gonna see what Moon's gonna play. What is left in the pool that he often plays?
There's a lot of heroes right
I mean, it's
now.
pretty versatile.
Clockwork, Tide. Say maybe Clockwork would suit the Naga playstyle a bit more, because you don't want an offlaner. If you're running core Naga, you don't want an offlaner that consumes a lot of resource. You want an offlaner that just needs levels, or maybe something like a Nyx.
Yeah,
You
they
got your
have
levels.
taken
You don't
as
need.
Nyx before.
Yeah, you don't need too much farm. You're running around. You're gonna try to set up kills so the Naga can farm. So those kind of offlaners are what you prefer when you have a Naga core.
Yeah, it's been Nyx and Legion Commander are the other heroes that Moon has played so far.
But then again, going back to what Owen mentioned, the Naga could still be a misery hero. Like he
Yes.
does play the hero, so it's not 100% for certain that this is gonna be a core Naga.
Well, there's the Legion in the end, or at least that's what we're assuming. Are we assuming that is then a Moon Legion Commander?
That'll almost certainly be
Moon Legion Commander. It's very similar towards how they want to have a Timbersaw in their draft, where Legion allows them to have a lot of deep push with his nuke, and he allows to have very strong laning phase, an offlaner that can distract the opponents. You're gonna force them to have maybe 2 to 3 heroes at least in the lane to keep you from farming. So that's gonna open a lot of space for the Naga Siren to farm.
Yeah, and Naga Siren, I mean, 21 matches played so far in the Boston Major with Naga and a 66.6 success rate.
Yeah, this is still telling me that there is a very, very high chance it is indeed going to be a core Naga with the LC pickup here. They need a catcher, and they need someone that has deep push, so that allows your core Naga to function very well. And for MP, so with the LC pickup here, it's going to give them a lot of information that a very likely core Naga is going to come in. So you have two options right now if you're MP. Do you go for the push with the Venom, or you're going to pick late game to deal with the Naga? Like late game, like anti-mage, those kind of heroes that are going to be able to go toe-to-toe against the Naga late game.
Do you really want to go late game against the Naga? Because surely that's not ideal.
Yeah, but at the same time, do you think that you can actually end the game? You're up against the keeper of the light. There's a lot of people, so it's a very tough decision to make. You have to go for what's best for your team.
Yeah.
Could you potentially, if you're MP, think about bringing out something like a Drow strat, getting the Drow Ranger for Aoi in this sort of a lineup?
Still possible right now because they have already gone for the Omni, so that gives me enough information that
That's
they
to be
have,
MSS's here, isn't it?
they have already decided that they're going to go for the 5-man push. They're not going to go for late game. It's very likely that MP is going to go for some timing push. They didn't like, I think there was like 1 or 2 games that they put SVG on the Omni Knight. They do play support Omni Knight as
Yes, they can do it in both.
well. And once again, so this is a D push, so 100% certain Naga is the core right now with the Rubik pickup. Rubik Kotal, very good at defending towers, pushing out waves, and yeah, there we go, the draw. So MP,
The Drow. Yep. I
Going for the
like
5-man.
this. I like this as well from MP. I mean, in terms of the heroes that Aoi's been playing, you know, Drow, Luna would have been your options, but Drow is going to make Veno and Warlock just that little bit scary as well in the laning stage. And they've got that method of shutting the game down before DC get to a certain point with the Rezo Naga, but it really is a timer. If you're kind of getting 40 minutes plus, it's going to get harder and harder for MP in terms of finishing off the game. I mean, I don't think it necessarily writes them out of it because they can still deal with the illusions. Drow can get an Axe. You've got a lot of AoE team fight, but it's certainly going to get harder. But the fact that they've got this strong early push is a really good sign for MP.
I mean, to be frank, I would have actually preferred the draw over the Luna because draw is faster than the Luna. Luna sort of, you want that stage that you farm your ancients, you tend to be more passive and you want to get more items, whereas for draw you're able to be much more aggressive early.
So it does seem like you guys are getting the general consensus of this has to end quickly for NP.
If NP is to win, yes. At least so far, maybe the last pick.
What could change your mind? I don't
think
think there's really much.
I wouldn't say when it goes to ultra late they have no chance at all. It will be very difficult, but like Owen said, the draw has a plan B. You can go for Aghanims and try to deal with the illusions in that manner. So it's not like, oh, there's no hope at all after the push doesn't work. There's still a plan B for them. But of course it's difficult.
Yeah, and Digital Chaos just decided to reduce the plan B potential as well with the Medusa ban, another hero that would have done really well in the later stages of the game as well, should it get to that.
It's reducing the 5-man potential. So I think when you run Draw plus Medusa on the same team, you have that front line and you have that hero that's very, very hard to take down before your Naga has a lot of items. So that hero would be very scary for DC to deal with. And MP removes the Invoker. They do not want to give DC a lot more laning presence because when you're going for the split push, you want to go for late game, you don't want to give the enemy too much laning presence with the Sunstrike. Any kill means the push gets slowed down, so you do not want that to happen.
Now with this final pick, we're obviously looking at what should be both Weeha and MV's final heroes, the two mids to be revealed.
Pushing hero, Dragon Knight.
What, for MP?
Yeah,
We're
we've
running
seen.
out of time.
I want to see kind of Juggernaut come into play here because I feel that it could be
Juggernaut's
strong.
good.
It could
Juggernaut's
be
good.
really strong for DC, you know, having kind of that heal over time against MP's lineup, but the
Against
ODs to
OD.
finish off. Drow OD,
Lane
it's
dominance.
incredibly strong in the lanes.
I mean, it's still really good for 5-man. Like OD works really well with a hero like Omni Oracle because you have that unlimited mana when you're 5-manning with the Essence Aura. So it's really good for you to 5-man. And you need to have a lot of sustain against the Kotal Blast. That's really, really important. A mech and the Omni Knight with a lot of mana. And for DC right now, they are going to have to struggle to find a good matchup for the OD. And not many good matchups left.
They could try the Weeha and the Ursa. It's something that they have done in this matchup before. They have played that in the 1v1.
I mean, as far as OD matchup goes, a Razor and Sniper are still in the
Yeah,
pool.
Razor Sniper would be...
People love to pick that hero against OD if it's in the pool, which normally
But is
it's
that something
not.
you can see Resolution playing?
It's not something that he's done recently.
Resolution will take the Naga.
Yeah.
and-
Excuse me.
Sorry, you're talking about
Weeha.
Weeha in the mid lane. Yeah.
And Weeha is very versatile. I could see him play potentially, although I like him more on more flashy.
Maybe even a Wind Ranger. I mean, if
you
the
probably
Wind
don't want to
Ranger-
put him on the Razor or the Sniper maybe. Like you need to have him on someone like Ursa. I know he's
Yeah, it's more flash.
He likes that hero a lot. But then again, does that hero fit the bill of what DC needs?
TA.
Templar Assassin.
TA
That's a
into
flashy
a
hero.
Veno switch lineup. I mean, it seems like a bit of a tricky game once the team fights start
Yeah,
going on. But
but-
do you like
but-
it in the lane?
This hero is very important against the Drow Shred, because against the Drow Shred, you want to pin them down when they're going for Rosh. You do not want to give the Drow Roshan, and with the traps of the TA, you can easily scout the
Right.
Roshan happening, and you make a smoke and try to take the fight.
All right. I mean, this draft seems to have got both pretty much a 50-50
Yeah.
vibe on the desk. You're not sure who you favor here.
I like what MP is doing.
Okay.
I hope that for them that it will work. I do think that the Digital Chaos has a good plan against it as well, though.
We'll find out how it plays out. There's only one way to do that, and that's, of course, by introducing the voices in this game. Your casters are ready and locked in as we're about to venture into DC versus NP. They know each other inside and out, and so do our casters. That's Gods and Toby.
Yes, for some reason there's just something that attracts Gods and I to these wonderfully long, potentially drawn out games. NP going up against Digital Chaos. Looking forward to this battle.
It should be a good one. This is the makings of a great series. Two North American squads, quote-unquote North American squads. I'm looking forward to this. NP is always a fun team to watch. DC kind of agreed upon by the panel to be the favorites in this series, but NP is one of those teams that have a lot of upset potential.
That they do. You never count out NP. NP is this team. While Winter might pussyfoot around exactly how he talks about it, NP are one of these teams where I agree with his final wording, which is high risk, high reward. You never know what they're going to do. And this is a really nice stable draft for them. Starting off with a Drow strat, there's very few of these we've seen so far, primarily because of just the initial bans.
There's a good reaction to seeing the Naga where it's like, all right, they're going to do one of their classic Naga strats. Our response is going to be fast-paced, early game Dota. We've got the Drow to win the lanes. We can then push in the mid game. They want to try and beat DC before that Radiance comes up. It does put their lineup on a bit of a timer. But also, if they do well enough in the early mid game and it does go late game, Drow with the kind of Ags Maelstrom build can also still fight the Naga in the late game.
We also have to remember too, like NP, how they managed to push their way through. Obviously, it wasn't just down to this, but you have to remember the Warlock combination. And DC have to give this a high level of respect as well. Templar Assassin wants to be jumping around, finding a bunch of kills. Naga Siren's got good AoE control, but if you get caught by that rock, you could be dead, or you just get, well, fight bottom rune. That's one way to do it. Overwhelming odds, over on 3, quick imprisonment. It will be both runes for Digital Chaos, but can they get out? Envy's making a break for Roshan at the moment. Into the pit, he's going to time this right. Moon doesn't have overwhelming odds. Roshan collapsed down. TA will take the first blood. It goes the way of the Wee of the Hearth.
Well, that's as bad of a start as you could hope for if you're NP. Both Rune and First Blood going to DC. He may have banished Weeha, but Moon was there ready to take the money for himself with the bounty rune, and DC looking to contest the lanes. One of the things that they do that other teams really don't with the Naga Siren is go for these aggressive off-lane dual lanes or sometimes tri-lanes. For now, Rezo's just kind of up there by himself, but that's because he finds himself in a 1v1 against the MSS Omni.
Now, this will be a fun little battle to see if MSS can at least keep the farm down of Resolution. Upside about running the aggro tri-lane. All the space, all the levels in the world. So it might be a little bit more difficult for Purification to clean out these illusions that will continue to riptide you down.
And for the DC safe lane, they've got access to their pools, so we'll likely see them use that to try and pull the weight back. It doesn't stack though, so Saksa immediately recognizes something fishy's going on, dewards it, and should be in decent shape as far as this defensive lane goes. The big thing to do in a tri-lane versus tri-lane, where your opponents have the greater damage output, you look at Drow, Warlock, with the Venomancer, this tri-lane, you can't fight them. They do too much right-click damage, they sit back, they cut you out. You've got to use your pull camps. You need to deny farm, deny experience by using those pulls, and DC, they've got access to both of them.
NP, what do you do against it then? You want to walk over with the Sentry Ward? They're still going to bring you under the control of potentially a Rubik and a Keeper of the Line. They've both gone for their damage to start with the Fade Bolt as well as Illuminate. So at least you won't get stranded there.
I think you mix up your lanes now. You see that Naga's not in the bottom lane, and you see, like, Venom's already venturing off. He's going to make his way towards mid, likely even go all the way to the top lane to try and force DC supports to move. You don't want this supports to be able to just play greedy, use these pull camps, deny you XP and farm. You want to make sure that they have to then go and protect the Naga Siren, because Naga won't be able to farm up top if Venomancer rocks up.
A bit of a missed pull timing there from AUI on bottom means he couldn't actually drag his own creep wave with him, but they did get the Sentry Ward down inside the camp, so this pull won't be happening for much longer. MSS and AUI, in fact AUI already TP's out. They're switching up their lanes. So you asked for it, you got it.
They don't want to fight the constant denies of this DC trial lane. Even though they win the 3v3, if there's fighting, there's not going to be fighting. DC's not going to give them that kind of opportunity. And once the Rubik KotL get levels, then you start getting lifted into Illuminates. Lane gets ugly. So they will rotate all their team to the top lane. Does prompt Saksa to TP up there himself, so now Rubik's up there to help back up Resolution. And Rezo, of course, one of the tankier characters, which is one of the reasons Naga's hard to deal with in the early game. She's got 7 armor, a poleman shield, plenty of HP regen, and a mango. Not exactly like this is a squishy carry to shut down.
Yeah, her issue later on is going to be just being kited out by all the slows that can come. If she does get gusted up, then combine it with Gale, Poison Sting, and the Cold Arrows. Retreating, you might tank for a while, but you'll also be stuck on the dire side of the river for a while.
This does mean that, for DC, they're doing very well in the lanes because they've got all 3 of their cores with a CS advantage because of NP's movements. Moon's getting mostly free farm at the bottom lane. Up until now, Rezo's been free farming the top, but that's going to perhaps change with the supports up there. But hey, third hero's going to TP up there. DC, they want to take the fight to NP. They've now got Rubik and KotL teaming up with Naga, leaving the 1v1 at bottom.
They're fine with this. It just changes up the cores. Now it's MSS on Moon on the bot lane. You still have the battle between Envy and Weehar in mid. The CS is very even between them all. There's the rotation. Misery is in a great position for this with the Illuminate. Flies out the back, attacks into SVG, and SVG dies very, very quickly. 1 point up in Fade Bolt, and you cop the entire Illuminate. Resolution brings in the level 2 Riptide. That is way too much damage for a poor little Venomancer to survive through.
Yep, nice catch. They had boots on the Rubik there, just having that little bit of extra movement speed boost and finding that second kill of the game and helping them win this trial lane. Immediately MP's like, this top lane's not gonna... They're basically dodging DC's trial lane wherever it goes. Benno then goes down bottom. They want to try and have at least one lane they're winning, because right now they've been losing all 3 lanes, at least somewhat on CS. Mid lane perhaps a little bit closer than others, but they're trying to turn one of the lanes into a 2v1 lane where they're going to have the edge. But anytime they make a move, DC's making a move to react to it.
Well, eventually someone has to find a better opening. DC, CS, and Killswines is looking good for them, but then how do you transition? Maybe a fight on bottom lane, MSS going in after Moon. Moon will have to TP himself away. Copped a big purification with 2 points up in that degen aura. Makes it difficult for the Legion Commander just to stand her ground, and this is also a Legion that went for no points up and pressed the attack.
A bit of a surprise, unconventional build, but recognizing that he was in a 1v1 somewhat, so opting just to not skill it yet. Do imagine he'll be getting it at least level 5 or maybe like level 7 or 8, but won't be skipping it altogether.
Still a fantastic ability, you're right. But NP are very happy just to let this game tick on the way it is. Maybe if AUI can get a little bit more farm into him, and mainly the levels, needs to hit that level 6, then all of this MP lineup becomes a lot more, well, potent.
Yeah, they really line up that shines with levels. So you mentioned the Drow level 6. Omni is a hero that often just wants to get his levels early on, doesn't really do a whole lot in the laning stage. Perhaps a 1v1 he can try and put some pressure on with the degen build that he's going, but not a hero that's going to make great rotations. His rotations come with levels and farm, and even then it's like a let's group up with your team. You're not smoking to try and find a pick off as the Omni. You need someone on your team to be the one initiating to help you out.
MSS is on the run. Looks like he's denying himself up to Roshan, and will give the lane to SVG, who cops instantly an overwhelming odds. Gets hit once by Moon and is forced back to his tier 1 town. There's not enough life for him to survive, so he'll have to walk all the way back to base and then TP back out to lane. So more space for DC in the laning phase. And more time where AUI has to defend underneath his own tier 1 tower. Normally you feel comfortable with this, but when you got a bunch of Naga illusions, it gives DC the ability to dive underneath the town without any real consequences.
Yeah, DC are getting just so much out of this Naga Siren right now as far as farm and pressure goes. The illusion splitting up, one chasing AUI,
AUI is actually in trouble. The illusions are body blocking. This is currently coming out. It's Resolution doing the work, allowed Saksa the time to get in close, and then Misery with the Illuminate. He started that whole engagement by hitting the Drow in the tree line.
That's so good from Resolution with the micro. I don't know if that's him or if he's sharing control or something
Mid lane,
there.
Weeha, in a little bit of trouble. Envy has imprisonment off cooldown. Weeha's going to go invis, and he's just out of range of the sentry ward. It's on the dire side of the river. Another sentry ward's coming on the courier. Will they plant it down in time? There's your imprisonment. So it's just the plague wars down for the moment. They try and block his path out by blocking in the tree line. Weeha dodges with the meld, back behind the tree. So once again, SVG right in the money, hits the gale, and Weeha will tick out. He goes invis. Do they see him? Can he actually survive through this? The gale is still ticking him down, but it's not enough damage.
Okay.
Now the sentry ward is finally planted. It took a very long time. But they achieved it. They killed off the Templar Assassin, but they lost the Tier 1 tower while all that was going on.
Yeah, it's one of those kills where they had to spend so much as far as buying the sentries, chasing him down, wasting time, that it's hard to really quantify just how worth it is. I mean, they get the 400 gold onto the OD, but realistically, the exchange with Naga getting a tower at top, that's the kind of space that Rezo's just loves to see his team creating for him. And TA had more than enough time just getting back, buying some items, doesn't really lose all too much there, so I think DC will be very happy with the early game, even with that one death onto Wee's Templar Assassin.
You're right, Resolution is the biggest winner out of all of this. If this Radiance timing kicks on, MP have no great way to, well, counter push. DC will control the map, so they have to keep forcing the issue. MSS, or you just creep pulling down the bottom lane.
He's trying to take this tower, but immediately Rubik will just take the creeps off the tower to make sure that he can get this experience. He almost level 6, Saxa. Will be getting behind her. Yeah.
Moves down, gets the Astral Imprisonment off. MSS, Purification. Envy's going to stand on top of the target, so they got to hit him. The pickup, where's that mana? MSS, okay, he's going to have enough with just Envy doing the hits. So the Rubik will fall. NP with a good movement down.
Yeah, nice job bringing the numbers needed to try and guarantee this tier 1 gets taken, and also punishing a support who's just looking for his level 6. Rune's still down here. This is a risky place for him to be, but perhaps banking on the fact that there will be a Rubik TP coming soon. Rubik has respawned now, and Moon feeling very tanky. 1200 HP with Presti attack and 3 points in overwhelming odds. It's very easy to get away from ganks as a Legion commander. That's probably one of the hero's biggest strengths and why we're seeing it picked up so much here at the Boston Major.
Do you enjoy this Iron Talon build on a Venomancer?
It's okay. It's, you know, it's one of those just small little farming efficiencies. He's not going to go full jungle, but he wants to go like partial jungle. Like if he's ever at a jungle camp, he wants to be a little bit more efficient. It gives armor, you know. This item's like not all about farming jungle. It's actually one of the cheaper armor items you can get in the game, and armor, I mean, is pretty good in terms of in Dota 2. So you're against the TA, Legion, and Naga. There's a decent amount of physical damage.
Well, for now, he goes up to the top lane to find the farm.
Yep.
NP grouped up on the bottom. You're still shy of the Warlock's ultimate, and this is approaching 10 minutes in. You've only got like just over level 3 Warlock in the hands of Rose. Omnight's taking most of the other farms, so Warlock needs to hold this bottom lane.
Really low level, but I guess, yeah, Rose has just been the one reacting to a lot of the plays and never getting any XP himself.
I think Moon might want to give a little bit more respect when he gets fatally bonded to an entire creep wave, and then he stays in range of the Omnight, who then throws down the Purification. He lost about 2/3 of his life in one hit of Purification.
I mean, the good news is when those creeps are dead, there's nothing, you're no longer bonded to anything, you know? Those creeps are dead, you don't take any more damage from it.
Yeah, that's the upside.
But you've also lost half your health, but he's got a buddy in Misery to heal him up with a salve, and speaking of Misery, already has a point boost. They're going straight into that Aghanim Scepter. Well, it's going to be a Naga Siren Radiance push timing, perhaps with a Keeper of the Light Ags timing. That could be very troublesome for NP. And talk about a great item to have against the Fatal Bonds Venomancer, this AoE combo. Or you've got an AoE heal in the Keeper of the Light Ags. Illuminate.
Moon, the smoke just broke. He doesn't have vision down that ramp. So that's the upside. MP will get around the back of him, start with the imprisonment.
He's very dead.
The big group up. And there's your Purification damage, fatally bonded to the jungle creep. But while Moon's dying on the bottom, DC properly pushing into that tier 1 tower. SVG's causing a couple of problems. They're only level 3 Plague Wards, so it's not that bad. And also, Saxa was able to steal them, so we've got wards on both sides of the field. Templar Assassin, however, not really enjoying this stance. His TP, realized imprisonment was already used. Weeha! Very, very close to death. He's still ticking. He went back to the tier 1 tower. He didn't actually go all the way home. So the Gale was ticking him down. It's probably the closest tower he could have TP'd to, apart from double clicking.
I imagine that was a misclick. Sometimes, yeah, if you've got like quick cast or something on, don't have that double click TP. But as it is, I mean, DC getting a lot more out of the lanes. You can see the net worth favoring them heavily, and MP just doesn't feel like they've hit that timing with the Drow. Likely see them try and sneak their way into the Roshan pit, something NV teams are kind of known for doing. Try to get that early Aegis. They're on the Dire side, they've got the Drow. And they've also kind of a pretty good timing with MSS getting his levels. There's no mech or anything inside, but level 6 on Warlock, level 8 on Omni Knight. This is kind of where they're ready to take some of those 5v5 engagements before Rezo has the Radiance. Man, Rezo is ahead of the pack as far as overall farm goes.
Top lane looking for the kill on MSS. If Izuri is able to hit, which he does, thanks to the control and then a purification from the Rubik. But Rock is down from Rose with a fatal bonds. He'll connect them again. And Saxa purifies up. This actually helps out MP because they can do more damage to him. The Song of the Siren will stop the fun for the moment. Rubik still has the purification and he wants to kill up MSS. The imprisonment in time from EE was not in time. So Saxa will come back up again.
That timing, it was like Rubik and Omni are both trying to heal themselves, but Rubik has a head start because of the insta-cast, whereas Omni Knight has that little wind-up. Great synergy between Rezo and Saxa there, giving them the kill. Rubik dying, not really the biggest deal for him. He almost got another heal off, and the whole time this is going on, Tia's actually taken over the Naga and overall farm because of the Ancient stacks. He is at 2k gold and close to presumably a Blink Dagger here, although he could also go for that Desolator first. May still be deciding himself.
Well, it depends when MP really want to attack, and Blink Daggers are rather difficult things to do up against Venomancers. With Plague Wards everywhere, you can always get caught out, but if you also just go the initiation, you don't care.
Yeah, with the Legion, because it means if Legion duels someone, you've got that instant follow-up from a Blink Melt Strike. But it's also, yeah, like you say, bad against the Veno or the poison damage. It's not really a easy, guaranteed initiation into a fight. So he saved up, there you go, buys the Blink after having 2.7. He saved up a lot of money, which suggests he wasn't even entirely sure which one he wanted to get. Very good against Warlock. You want to just jump the Warlock and force a bad ultimate out of him, and if he doesn't ultimate, he just dies and doesn't get a chance to use it in a team fight.
Radiant scanning up. They're wondering if MP have any flankers, but MP's running pretty much directly at Digital Chaos. And this is where TA can reveal her Blink Dagger. She's got a couple of side traps and in fact even gets an Invis rune. The Illuminate slowing up the push from NP. No creep wave. MP can't really just claim the tower.
DC are just so good at putting themselves in these positions where Rezo is free farming on Naga, and there's nothing the opposing team can do about it. All they can do is go try to take objectives elsewhere. It almost feels like it's a waste of time trying to kill Rezo because it's going to take too much and
TA,
waste too much time.
He's found Rose just walking on the side. The first side trap will trigger with the Melt Strike down to -8 armor. It doesn't take much longer to kill him off, and even Saxa able to manage to pick up that level 2 Shadow Word. So sustain gets even better for Digital Chaos.
That's the target you want to find if you're Weeha on the TA. Find that Warlock, take him out. He doesn't want to solo ultimate a TA, it's not going to do too much, and instead just goes down, and that ends the push. You can't maintain that push without the threat of the Warlock Chaotic Offering. It was still on cooldown, but NP were trying to just group up around that mid lane in anticipation of it coming back up.
T1 tower in the bottom lane to be lost by MP. No one is nearby to help out. In fact, they're already starting to TP the Warlock over into the Dire jungle.
Every time Rezo plays this Naga. There we go, 15-minute Relic. He's going to have like a 16, 17-minute Radiance.
T1 tower dropping, that's some extra cash as well.
NP are not breaking, I mean, they're not breaking T1 towers before the Radiance. They're going to have to start thinking more long-term, thinking about the late game, because with the Radiance up, they will really struggle to take team fights or to deal with the split push.
NP's looking for a fight. I don't know if they're actually close enough for the Radiant Observer Ward to be scouted out. But they smoked inside their own jungle, and that one deep ward in NP's jungle might have caught a glimpse for DC. The reason why Weeha is doing his little runaround thing, he knows he can blink away with Refraction up. It doesn't put his Blink Dagger on cooldown when they initially attack him. Unless he gets stunned, then he'll be in trouble.
His top lane's still being chipped away, but
SVG loses so much life, but with the Plague Ward stolen by Rubik, he gets just the last bit of damage in to find the kill.
That burst damage potential.
There you go, mid lane. Weeha starts stacking on the OD. Fatally Bonds is on TA, but oh, you can see Weeha. He didn't know if he could 100% get the
Blink
kill.
in
That's why he
3.
tried to go for the side blade hit. But the blink now off cooldown. If he jumps in with the Mel Strike, EE defensive imprisonment will allow him to back up. The Shadow Word's giving him a little bit more help. So Weeha back out of the imprisonment, but won't find the kill on the OD.
Double damage TA, not something to joke about, as MV finds out. Having that Bale giving him that nice little bit of extra armor, but realistically, this is not like a super scary OD. Has the Omni to back him up, and that classic OD Omni Knight combo is there, but DC just have a very difficult amount of damage to deal with coming out on single targets from the LC and TA, but then also that kind of spread damage across the map from the Naga Siren they've got to address. And OD's not a hero that's able to easily deal with and push out those lanes. Can kill the Naga illusions pretty fast with the orb, but just isn't all that mobile right now.
I'm interested to see what Misery Scribble was just then. Scribbled on the mini-map and basically drew a line that went from the Dire Seeker shop almost like directly down over the river. He had about another 5 lines in his one. But wonder what the purpose of that is, if it's just like, you know what, guys, like, we need to control all of this area. Make sure that NP is incapable of farming up these stacks, and this gives them access to Roshan with an early Templar Assassin Desolator.
And you can see where all the TA traps are all in that area. There's 3 traps to the north of Roche. There's actually no traps in Roche, but they're all kind of just outside of the pit, anticipating NP to move on through that area if they ever want to go for Roche itself, but that's where NP are likely to smoke up, so yeah, like now he puts a trap in Roshan, which was about to say much needed in case NP do go for that little sneak Roche that they like to do sometimes.
Ah, wait, hang on, that didn't work. He started to press the attack and was about to blink forward. Rose showed himself for just a split second to Fatal Bond the creep wave. Now Envy jumps in with his imprisonment. Moon, he loves this with no astral imprisonment. He wants to go for the kill on Envy. Repel is allowing Envy to do what he's doing.
Yeah, they're also safely just chipping this tower down, so there's no like necessity to force a fight here if you're Moon. And Misery's probably like telling you like only go if you get like a really good target. If you can get Envy and we kill him, sure. Ideally, you want to even get the Omni Knight, get him with the jewel. But the problem is, you dive past that tower onto NP, you're playing into their hands. You're playing into the Warlock Chaotic offering, Fatal Bonds, Venomancer ulti, all those big AoE combos come together if you're diving into them. So DC, they do the safe approach. They slow siege, take the tower from afar, and then fall back, and they're going to get themselves an Aegis.
Yeah, and this is perfect. The fear of just the jump with the Legion Commander is enough to keep MP away. So Digital Chaos now with an Aegis behind them. They've cracked over the 10k net worth advantage. We're not even 20 minutes into this game. MP are being backed into a corner, and they're going to fight their way out. This whole team fight combo, we've seen them do it before. It was with the Marauder instead of the OD, and they had the setup of the Naga Siren.
They also had the Disrupt. They had a lot. They had like the team fight of all team fights there. This time around, it's kind of like, well,
bits and pieces.
They don't have the setup. That's the biggest thing. I'm okay with them not having like a full-on team fight lineup, but the key piece for me is the one hero that goes in to start the fight. It almost feels like that's going to be Envy with like an Astral, but leading the fight with an OD is a very risky maneuver. Even more so if DC get a Diffusal Blade, which could be an item that, well, Naga's going to get eventually, but even perhaps Weehaw and the TA is going to consider it. We'll see if it's going to be like a BKB into Diffusal, potentially even a straight Diffusal. Once there is a Diffusal online, this game gets very tricky for NP.
Notice this
being able
again.
to take those fights.
Notice this again from DEC, where they just show one hero on the lane that's very capable of pushing by himself. And then they just take out another outer tower. NP not fighting. They're still splitting up. They're still pushing. Down on bottom lane, AUI is trying to find that space.
And there's a Naga illusion in all 3 lanes. There's a Naga at top and illusion at bottom. They want to get the Naga herself, but
Envy was too close. He actually broke the smoke when the creep wave had vision up the hill.
yeah. And that Radiant Observer Ward helps protect Resolution as well, so his team's just gonna meet up with him towards that top lane, take that last outer tower, which will be a freebie, as MP have no real ways to defend this one. The Drow strat is not feeling at all like a Drow strat right now.
It's a Drow strat where you've taken one tower in 21 minutes.
Yep.
This isn't a Drow strat. This is something else that we can classify once it's back to the panel.
It really is this. I mean, the Coddle is there as one of the big tower defending tools, but I think more than anything, it's the power of the Legion Commander. We're seeing more and more of this hero. It's kind of been a hero that was often sometimes joked about, like, oh, why would you ever pick Legion? It always felt like it would just lose games, but it seems teams are really figuring out the hero's strengths and how and when to pick it. Sometimes you just pick it in the first two because of how much utility it has, from the press, the attack, to the overwhelming odds, to its just sheer tankiness in lane. It's so good in these like dual lanes in the off lane. It can 1v1. And Moon, he's only 0-1-1. He's not won a single duel, but he's been just very annoying and impactful, preventing these towers from going down, keeping NP busy.
And that's the name of the game for DC. They know they got this game as long as they can keep controlling the map. And thanks to their lineup, it's not a real difficult thing to do. How are we actually away? Does he have the money for it?
For the Ags?
Yeah, the Ags
about.
I'm thinking. Because at that point, then this game turns into a brutal split push kind of approach. Then the Naga controls all. She BTs out, instantly brought back in again. So DC and never down a man for the fight.
The great thing about having the TA is you've got a good hero to actually hit buildings with. Looks like DC are perhaps setting up at bottom, though. They've got Naga leading the way, could initiate with a sleep.
Well, here's the recall. Misery, bringing one in, start the song with the siren. Fairly certain that's going to be your TA coming in. He actually brings in Moon, so wait for it. The Illum doesn't hit properly, only hits an SVG. The duel will begin on the Drow Ranger. Resolution will help out. Do we have ourselves a winner? Yes, we do.
They got both. The Astral canceled the TP of Veno. What a great maneuver from DC. They showed 2 or 3 top. It was just the Naga setting it up with the sleep, and then the recalls in from Keeper of the Light. That was a perfectly executed gank. DC haven't had to make too many aggressive plays, but one of the first ones they actually do nets them a Drow Ranger. That really cripples NP.
Very patient play from Digital Chaos. Resolution, oh, what is he doing? He's just holding him here. There is a movement. It's Weeha. Thanks to the Observer Ward, sees MSS, Rose, and Eternal Envy down. That Sentry Ward's looking for the ward in the lane. It's not close enough to the hill. So Digital Chaos will keep their vision, which is very, very tight from that mid lane to the top lane.
DC have everything they need at this point. The BKB comes up for Templar Assassin. Moon could theoretically buy one himself fairly soon.
They've still got the Aegis for another 50 seconds or so.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they'll get like an actual high ground push off of it, like outside of what damage they've already done. And they're starving out NP though. They've got deep observer wards at top lane, at mid lane. They're keeping NP in their base. The TA traps also functioning as like little mini observer wards.
Here's that little play on bottom lane once again. So the Song of the Siren, just a straight setup. They probably want the Illumina to hit the Drow Ranger as well, but they brought more than enough damage to this fight.
Yeah. Big thing was they positioned the Naga to the right side, so the Gust was not going to catch the LC as he blinked in. He blinked in from the north, while Naga was kind of to the south of the Drow, so he avoids the Gust there, and very, very well executed for the most. I mean, obviously they missed the Illuminate. It could have been more well executed, but the idea and the concept was there, and there was no way Drow was going to live. The Rubik TP ensured the second kill, but the Drow was the one they really wanted, and they made sure they got that one.
There's your Aegis reclaim, DC. Is it yet that time with the fresh Octarine over on Resolution, the BKB you mentioned before on Weeha? You got Blink Daggers on Rubik for initiation, Legion with Blink and Armlet, and still got another 3.4k-ish gold. It's like Digital Chaos have everything they want to fight, and MP just need a good initiation. But where's their vision? They don't see anything near the Secret Shop. The Illuminate flies down. They're very well aware of where DC is, but because the positioning of DC, and with that true side of the daytime, they just can't do it. SVG jumps in, able to actually code up quite nicely with the ultimate, now dueled up, completely isolated from the rest of his team. MSS trying to keep up, maybe with the Guardian Angel he can be protected. Envy actually going to imprison him and hold him there. Guardian Angel, perfect steal as well from the Rubik. Warlock gets ripped apart, MSS will join it. This Rubik is running circles around MSS. 3 heroes down for MP and little to no cost.
That was a gem pickup from MSS. They're kind of in that position where it's like, well, we're stuck in our base. We have to buy a gem just to try and deny DC's vision. And because we're kind of in such a desperate position, it's our only way back in. So they lose that 1,800 gold swing just from the gem alone. And
Envy.
Just mana lead. He's going to lose his whole mana pool.
Gets mana lead, gets blinding lighted back, so then he gets stunned up. Eternal Envy, say goodbye. Buyback is available and he'll expend it, but he's already calling the GG. That kind of maneuver, NP knew it. This game was unsalvageable.
That was a great game from the laning stage. NP were in all kinds of trouble. DC winning all 3 lanes. The mid lane perhaps one of the closer of the two, but I mean, you've got a Weeha TA just getting the farm he needs and creating the Ancient stack. So when you win all those all 3 lanes, it gets very hard to turn the game around. And that's winning all 3 lanes with a Naga Siren.
Yep.